Hey there, pals. Happy New Year's. The Pullbox Pals are back for 2024, and we are so excited. How you doing over there, Monk?
I'm doing good, Mad. How are you doing?
Doing all right, man. I had a good break. How about yourself?
I also had a good break. Was your Christmas filled with nerdy delights?
Uh, no.
Well, that's fine. I guess it can be filled with, Christmas spirit and other holiday magic. That's fine too.
Yeah. No, it's, the only like nerdy comic book related thing I got for Christmas was a gift certificate to my shop from my brother-in-law.
Honestly, same.
Um,
I don't
yeah,
think I I don't I think, obviously my fiance knows that I love comics, but she doesn't know what comics to get me. So then obviously the right choice is always a gift certificate, you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Unless there's like something you like or just talking about all the time in front of her, or just
right,
like for me, just for anybody, but uh like nobody's gonna really know what to get you.
right.
But
Or what you
but yeah,
don't, what you already have, all that fun stuff.
yeah. So if you know a comic book person and you don't know what comic book to get them, just get them a gift certificate.
Yeah.
They'll know what to do with it.
Oh yeah. I did get some Pokemon cards though, and I got a ho ho. You know the bird that I'm talking about, the legendary, one of the first legendary birds. For those who aren't watching the video, I'm flapping like a bird does.
I
Yeah,
uh
Ash
I have
Ketchum
no
sees him on his first day out of Pallet Town. He's walking and it flies over, and some cannons a feather drops too.
huh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a whole lot about Pokemon other than like
that's right.
what most like probably what the average person knows about Pokemon.
Pikachu,
Um yeah, like my I know Pikachu and like was is it Squirtle?
Squirtle. Yeah, there you go.
Um
That's two out of a
uh
thousand plus.
Charizard.
A three. That's a good
Um
one. And you got a whole evolutionary chart. That's great. The first one being Pikachu, and then it evolves into a
yeah.
Squirtle, and then it evolves into a Charizard.
But yeah, my kids have been into it like every so often. My son was
That's
into it
cool.
for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't keep up. And like my growing up, I never really liked Pokemon.
Mm,
I thought
you
all
were
the
a little
kids
too old
younger than
for it.
me,
Yep.
yeah, all the kids younger than me were really into it, and I just never got on board. I was into Ninja Turtles and GI Joes,
Those are
and
pretty cool
Pokemon
things
came
as
around.
well.
So
Just a quick shout out to our new buddy Hack. Says, "What's up, guys? New sub here. Thank you so much for the sub and coming along for this fun little journey. Let us know what you've been reading as we dive into it. But man, I gotta say, I read so much over this break. Just like part of it was like being off from work and all that. And I was telling you off mic, and I posted about this on Instagram that my goal was to read all of my to read pile and I will say that I did it. I did that with an asterisk that says minus the ones that I'll probably never read and monomyth, which I still want to read, but who knows when I'll get around to it. Whenever I feel like reading a novel is when I'm going to read monomyth again.
yeah, I had that same goal,
Mm.
and I did not even make a dent into it.
Well, that's fair. You got kids all running around. I was able to just, I had a week in between Christmas and New Year's where I was fortunate enough to be able to work from home. So, got to do some reading without having to worry about driving around and all that stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be chatting a lot of comics tonight, I feel. Well, okay. So, don't have a pool list, only collect Batman and older books. Well, spoiler alert, we're going to be getting into some Batman this issue, I believe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
I got something in the works on Batman here.
yeah, so hang on
But
for
yeah.
it.
So did you so outside of like the comics world, did you do anything like fun over the break?
I played a show in Philly for my birthday, and that was a
Oh,
lot of
that's right.
fun. Yeah, I love the crew down in Philly. I live about 2 hours away, so I don't really get to see them very much, and they're just super supportive. Great musicians, just beautiful people. So it's always nice to be able to make the trek down there and get to spend time with them. Um, but yeah, besides that, it was pretty low key. But you got to go to California. right?
I did. I went to California. I just got back on Monday. We left last Wednesday. Um, and it was just me and my wife. We went down to do some sourcing for the shop and have some fun. So, uh,
Nice.
and I gotta go meet the rad dude Frank at Coffee and a Comic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I hung out there I was probably there for about 30, 45 minutes, just like
Okay,
me and my wife just chatting with him, and we bought a few things and
that's
uh,
awesome.
cool to meet him. And then I was gonna meet up with Kyle, but Kyle and I don't blame him for this at all. And Kyle, if you're listening, I'm not upset, man. It's cool.
You can listen to the story on the latest episode of the Comic Book Lair. He talks about it there as well.
Yeah, but yeah, he got like his in-laws bought them all tickets to go to Knott's Berry Farm on the day that we were gonna hang out. And I was like, dude, I would have done the same thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's not the last time I'm going to be down in his neck of the woods, so
that's right.
it'll happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, we had a good time. It was really good for my wife and I to get away. We've been so swamped with everything going on in our lives. It was just good for her and I just to get away, the two of us, and we
Yeah,
had a good team here to watch the kids and get them to school and all that. And we
awesome.
never once had to like worry about anything back here at the homestead. So we had a great time.
That's always great, man. Just being able to go on a vacation without like with minimal worrying about what's going on, you know?
Yeah, because the last time her and I got away, just the two of us, was 6 years ago.
Ooh. You would have
Yeah.
had only one child at that time.
No, they were both around. They were both.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is that
my
old.
youngest. Yeah, my youngest was born in 2016.
Okay, well, wow.
So it
Time
was
just
when.
keeps on rolling, baby.
Yeah, so it was when she was 2. That's when
She's
we were
8.
able to get away.
My
She just
God.
turned 7.
I don't know how to do math. But you know what I
Yeah.
do know how to do?
What? What do
um,
you know how to do?
I was actually
Quit
going to say
quit leaving me in suspense and tell me what you know how to do.
I was going to say that I know how to pull comments, but before we do that, I think we have to do something that's very important. Do you know what it is?
What's that?
So uh, at each season, we end our episode. You're making a crazy face. At,
I'm
uh,
really excited.
at each at the end of each episode, we have a slogan, and those slogans come from a drink that I am drinking on the first episode of the first season. And
Ooh.
yeah, so I know that you forgot about this, but I didn't because it's a lot of pressure. So I was trying to what's a fair drink? What's a I had like more anxiety about picking the right drink than I did like anything about like getting back on here and talking about comics or anything like that. And I
Yeah.
wanted to go with a Fanta, but I couldn't find a Fanta, so I got a Crush Orange.
Oh,
I don't know what that is, but I'm going to go ahead and look at the slogan for crushed orange soda,
does
and
Crush Orange Soda have a slogan?
I don't know. I We're
And
going to find
then
out.
also, like, I know that Crush exists, but if it's between Crush and Fanta, I'd probably lean towards Fanta, even though they taste exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, same. I think I might have found it. Uh, I don't know if this is it, but hold on. Let me see if I can pull up my share on. I mean, this seems very.
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm assuming I'm still live now. I lost Monk.
Yep, you did.
There he is.
I got excited and pulled. I accidentally backed out of the page. Sorry about that. Oh my
You
goodness.
scared me, man. I was like on here by myself. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you always hate it. All right. So the time has come for us to reveal our new slogan for season 3, and it is "Embrace Your Inner Comic." Which the slogan is "Embrace Your Inner Orange." I guess we're gonna go with "Embrace Your Inner Comic." Is that a good one? Comic Your
Embrace.
Inner Orange? No, I guess it's "Embrace Your Inner Comic." All right, I like it. It's that's a good one because
Let's roll with it. Why not? Like
it's
otherwise we're gonna have
introspective.
to try and find another drink that you're not drinking at the moment and go with that slogan.
All right.
So
So embrace your inner comic. That's the slogan for season 3. I like it. Again, it's introspective. We're thinking about stuff and having a delicious little orange drink at the same time. Oh my goodness.
I got the quality dihydrogen monoxide with me today.
Excuse me?
H2O, water.
You and your fancy words. What are you, some kind of doctor?
No, I was once an inspiring scientist.
I feel like every small child is an inspiring scientist. But all right, buddy, it's time to stop beating around the bush. Do you want to start
Let's get
talking some
into some
comics?
polls. Yeah,
Oh,
what'd you poll this week?
I should have let you finish that. Let's do it
That's
again.
right.
Let's stop beating around the bush.
And get into some polls.
There we go. I like that. All right. I feel like you might get this first one, or I feel like it's something that you would like if you didn't.
Okay.
But Zorro, Man of the Dead, number 1.
Ooh. I did not get that. That was not even on my radar. Yeah.
It's
I
from
create
Massive Comics. I don't know if I know Massive Comics.
I have something from Massive Comics off the top of my head. I could not tell you what it is. But
But I just cracked it open for the first time. The art's pretty good. I'm stoked on it.
oh
I
yeah.
I loved Zorro as a kid, but I had a speech impediment, so I would always say Goro, which is the guy from Mortal
Goro.
Kombat. Yeah, he makes this. Well, I would say Goro. He makes the sign of the gi apparently, because apparently I had a hard time with S's or Z's, I guess. But the
That makes
next
sense.
thing I got, I don't know if I'm going to read. I'm going to stay up. This just seemed like a very novel thing, and I don't know if this is something that is like necessarily up my alley, but I'm going to give it a go. It's Acid Chimp versus Business Dog from Ahoy Studios. I just
Who
thought
wrote that?
it's by Mark Russell, which sounds familiar.
That
Um,
does sound familiar.
I'll give it a googs. But yeah, I don't really know anything about this. Okay, so he's got some stuff up there. He's done the Flintstones. Um, yeah, the Wonder Twins. Wow. Okay, so there's some stuff up there. Now I kind of feel like we should know this name, Rumpus Room. Interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got
So
a lot of stuff.
we'll see what that's about. Not 100% sure. Uh, Next one, I don't. Have you been on this series? This series being Transformers?
No. I I kind of wish that maybe I had hopped on it just because like I think you're reading it, I think Ross is reading it,
Yeah,
and I think maybe Kyle or Ray are reading it.
yeah. I mean, I was going to talk about this later, but I don't really have a whole lot to say. But I read, what is this? This is issue 4. And so I went back and I read issues 1 through 3 of the Transformers because I had kind of put some space in between 2 and 3. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of get it from the get go. And man, I got to say, I'm loving it. And in one of the issues, I think issues 3, Duke is introduced. I forget what his full name is now that I'm on the
Something
spot.
Conrad.
Yeah, something like that. Duke, I think isn't Duke Conrad?
No, Duke is like his call name, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anyways, he had a spin-off series that just started a couple weeks ago, and so I read that as well, and that was really good. So I would recommend that you get on this just because I think it's going to be one that'll probably come up in some. Oh, well, there you go. I meant the Transformers. Well, they're connected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they also have Cobra Commander coming out.
right.
So it seems like they're doing a whole, universe of this new run of Transformers. And
Mhm.
as much as I would like to get on all of it, I don't think that that's like possible for me at the moment. So
That's fair.
I'll probably just wait until most of those come out digitally,
Hmm.
where I'm like under a subscription. So
Right. That makes sense. Well, next is a comic that I've been really looking forward to the second issue of because I really loved the first one, and it is Blood Drink. I guess I said it wrong all the times I like reviewed it and stuff by saying Blood Drink. I guess it is Blood Drink.
Blood
But
Drake.
But man, I really loved issue number one of this. It was just like such a poetic tale, and yeah, it's a lot of fun of just man versus nature and living out in the wilderness and harshness and all that stuff. Next, I have something that you may have gotten. Swan Songs number, who knows, six, I
It's
think.
right. It's right here on the top of my pile.
Wow. Yep, issue number six. I'm glad that you got this cover because I love whatever the guy's name who this is an homage to, and I clearly love him so much that I forget his name. Shel Silverstein. I did it.
Yeah, that's
So
the guy.
I bought one of his music albums one time, and it wasn't as fun and whimsical as. Well, I guess these aren't whimsical. His yeah, obviously this. Okay, this is just a
Swan
cover.
Songs is not whimsical. No.
No, this is just a reference. This is a homage to something else. Swan Songs itself is yeah, just it in theory should be crippling depression, and it is for a
Yeah.
lot of the time.
Yeah.
Uh, and my last one that I got into, or that I picked up this week rather, was Petrolhead number three. And this has been a great series. Really glad that not that I picked up issue number one and two, and I didn't read them like back to back. I kind of just let it sit for a while, and I'm really glad that I was able to read them kind of shotgun, one after the other, because uh, it really just felt. I said this to my guy at the comic shop that it feels like a movie. The way that it's being told, the way that the scenes transition, just like I could see this very much so being like a Disney or Pixar joint for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's everything that I pulled this week. I'm gonna throw it on over to you, bud. What you get?
Yeah, so I have 2 weeks worth of polls sitting right here because I didn't make it to my shop last week. Well, actually, no, I
Okay.
did. My flight was like in the afternoon, so I tried to make it to my shop, but they had just gotten the comics in like when I walked in the door, and then the
Mm,
person in charge of that was in the other town over that
mm.
way, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll just get them all next week. And so now here I am,
Got
have
a
them
big
all.
old pull list.
So let's get into it. So yeah, we already know that I got Swan Songs issue 6. I got a lot of issue 6s today, like a lot. Like
Interesting.
yeah. So first up here, I got Sacrificers number 6.
Well, here you go.
I think this might be the only number 1 I got, and I don't really know how I'm going to feel about it because it's attached to the new movie Rebel Moon.
Oh, did you see the
Uh,
movie Rebel Moon?
I did. I watched it, and I watched it in 2 parts because I fell asleep the first time I watched it. Uh,
That's
Not because I was bored. I was more that like I was
sure.
tired and I fell asleep.
Right.
But I did finish watching it, but I kind of want to rewatch it because it's getting really bad like reviews from critics and users.
Yeah.
Um, and so I want to give it another shot and just see how it is, and I'll read through this comic too because the characters from the that are this one's about, which is about the brother and sister who run that like rebel crew.
Right.
Um,
Well, yeah. I don't know any. I haven't even watched the trailer for this. Um, I just I it feels like it's I don't know. I I heard a lot of people saying that there's not a lot of original ideas in it, and the idea itself doesn't seem too original to me. You know,
yeah,
it just kind of seems like Zack Snyder was like, I'll do my own Star Wars, and we'll have cursing and boobies or whatever. You know,
yeah.
I don't know if that's in there,
Well,
but that's
from
what it
from what
seems
I
like.
from what I know, Snyder was like putting this together before George Lucas sold to Disney.
Interesting.
And he was I like maybe he was getting ready to like pitch it to George, and then the sale happened, and then Disney took over, and so Schneider just like let it go, but then he kind of reworked it so that it would be its own thing, and like
Sure.
I can totally see it fitting into the Star Wars universe, but it is like he did enough to make it separate. Like I can see where he was going with the Star Wars of it, and I
Right.
think that's probably why it doesn't seem original, but
Mm.
the story idea is an original idea as far as I know. And so yeah, I'm gonna watch it again. I'll read this comic. I'll let you know.
All right. You would report back.
Um, I'm excited about this one. It's another issue 6. It's the final issue of one of my top series from last year. And it's written by J. Michael Straczynski, who will come up later. The Madness number 6.
Of 6.
Really, yeah, 6 of 6. I'm real excited to get into that one. I got Fish Flies number 4, Jeff Lemire.
Nice.
And I got Dark Spaces Hollywood Special number 5.
Yeah, I saw that. Let me just jump in. Are you still enjoying that? You're silent.
I mean, it's not great, but it's good. I'll just
Yeah,
put it at good.
it's a nice way to, it's good to keep your mind occupied with it.
Yeah, when I you know when I before we went on break and I was reading a lot more comics than I did on break, like it was a good filler piece. But now it's like one of those things. I'm like, is this going to end up at like the bottom of my stack? And I'm like, just never going to get to it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah, that is always there's always like a comic that you want to get to, and it just unintentionally shuffles to the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I got here Vengeance of Moon Knight, so I do have another number 1. I'm excited about that. Like I love Moon Knight. He's always been a great character for me. And like I think I'm one of the people who enjoyed the MCU show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I kind of think like a lot of people didn't like it that much. I really
The
enjoyed
only
it.
scene I didn't like, I think, just from purely just cinematic, is the one scene he's fighting going to the left, and they never really. You're supposed to go to the right in like a fight sequence, like you're supposed to look like you're progressing, whereas that it like just as like somebody who like listens to movie podcasts, I'm just like, oh, you went left here.
Oh, you mean like going across the screen? Like
Right. Yeah. Like he just like literally just the way that the camera pans was, and I know it's reversed here, is like going left as opposed to normally like Mario, you follow him from left to right rather than him going from right to left, you know?
Well, I'm sure those MCU execs are listening and they're going to take note.
Yeah, that's the problem that the MCU has.
Yeah. Then up next, I got the magical number 42 of Darth Vader. But what I'm really excited about, because I believe I asked to pull this one, is what's advertised on the back cover. But there's a Mace Windu series coming out.
It looks like a young Mace Windu.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out when it comes out. Then I got number 5 of Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy.
Nice.
And let's see, number 6 again of The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Chris Chaos.
What a weird thing for you to have so many number 6s. What are the chances of that you would start off the year with a bunch of finishing numbers?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I'll do my last number 6 here, and then I'll do my last one. So from Scout Comics, I got the Bones of the Gods number 6, which is the final issue for this. So yeah, a lot of number 6s. And last but not least, so this is something that Ross recommended to both of us, I believe. I went ahead and got it, and I know the guys at the lair are reading it too. But Ministry of Compliance number 2 came out. This series, I'll get into it later. But man, it's so good.
Nice. Yeah, so I maybe that's like my Transformers that I jumped on at one point, but you can sell it on me, and it's me, I love jumping in on issue number 2 of stuff.
I also think it's a 4-issue arc. If that pulls you in a little bit more,
that does pull me in a little. See, I don't even know if my comic shop has it. I can't remember if I saw it up there or not, but
my shop had to back order first issue for me, but they got the cool one. They got me the cool cover, which is right back up here. I'll pull it down later. I'm going to talk about it later.
So sweet. Well, before we get to that, do you want to talk about a series that I am like, I wish there was more of? I'm sure there will be more of, but like I just hate that I have to wait for more of it.
Yeah.
And fungi.
Yeah. Fungi.
However you want to say
fungi. I assume you say it how you're supposed to call mushrooms is fungi. I assume it's fungi, but yeah, dude, yeah.
I think it's fungi as in like a gee. You know what I mean? Like that sounds a little bit more, and yeah. Anyways,
good point.
Let us know.
We'll have to ask him.
Yeah. because I mean, please do. If you want to come on the podcast, you can come on the podcast as well. Because Matt and I haven't talked about like any comics at all over the break, so
Yeah.
we don't know what the other person's been reading or what how they feel about it. But for me, I've just been loving this comic.
Yeah, no, it's really fun, but it's also really intense, and
Hmm.
I love that it's violent, but it's not violent because they're mushrooms, and it's like when you think of slicing a mushroom, like what happens? Oh, it becomes two parts of a mushroom.
But I can't get over like how well art does at relaying the texture of that,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
and like
absolutely.
just the way that it slides and the the onomatopoeia that it gives it, like it's just yeah, it's just such a palatable like cutting like you can feel everything. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, the art really draws you in. It's beautiful. The story's really fun too. I mean, well, this is only issue 2, but so far it's been really good and really gripping. I'm gonna keep rolling with it.
Yeah. Same. I just want to pull this up real quick. Our good buddy said, "Happy New Year's, fellas. Good to have you back. It is good to be back. I am sorry that I've left you on red. I know that I need to respond to you about some stuff. Thank you so much for coming through. Uh, yeah, it's good to be back as well. But yeah, I mean, fungi. If you're, I guess, you set up the premise. There's this group of like kind of how would you say this, like rogue mushrooms. Oh, well, okay. So there was this like mushroom princess who was kidnapped and she was freed by like a wandering warrior and his companion. And now they're trying to go back to the castle where she was freed from to kind of figure out what happened. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and do you see how well I recited that? I am
you did
terrible at
it. You did
reciting the plot of
you did
comics.
really well.
It's because
Like
I
I'm proud
really
of you.
like this. I'm proud of you too. But it's yeah, for me it's been such a fun ride and like it feels like the Lord of the Rings, like that kind of like epic quest of like we got to do this thing, even though like the scales aren't as the yeah the scales or the stakes rather aren't really as big. But
Yeah.
just super enjoying it. But
Yeah. No, it's super fun. I love that, like, also too, like their vessels like for transport are like bugs.
mhm, yeah,
It just
the whole world is such a fun little thing.
yeah. But yeah, that's from one of our favorite publishers, Scout. I love Scout, man. Like I know we've heard from a few creators that they're a bit difficult to like work with, but they still put out really good content.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I get as much Scout as I can.
I think that that's what makes it so like it discouraging when you hear that like behind the scenes stuff about Scout. I think is because they have just put out like on it like some of our favorite comics.
Yeah,
And like to just yeah to know kind of behind the scenes and like they still have printer issues. Like a lot of the comics that I read over the break had from Scout were had ink issues and
yeah,
like I would love to see them firing on all cylinders and like working with like their creators the best they can because they are just they have access to such good stories.
yeah.
But so anyways, before we dive too far off of that, why don't you let me know about this Ministry of Compliance?
Yeah, Ministry of Compliance. So yeah, Ross had shot this our way a while back, and he kind of just shared the concept of it with us, and I was just like, that sounds like something that is definitely up my alley. Um, Let me see. I'm gonna get. Oh gosh, that's a big blurb.
Yeah,
Uh,
some
so
meat.
essentially, so essentially, from what I understand, there's like these human-looking people on Earth, but
That's
they're not
cool.
actually they're not human. They're part of this group called the Devolution.
That's not cool.
And there's 13 ministries within the Devolution, and then the Ministry of Compliance. They're the ones who keep all of them in check. So like there's nobody overseeing the Ministry of Compliance other than the Ministry of Compliance. And it starts off with them going after, I think it was the Ministry of Finance, because, obviously finance world, there's some greediness going on.
No. What?
Um, but yeah, so this was the cool cover. Unfortunately, the two that will, or the ones that will match this one, that I'm holding in my hand, I'll show in a second. They're all going to be like incentive, like 1 in 10s, 1 in 25s, whatever. And
That's
so
nice.
my shop doesn't really have the ability to pull those in for me, so I have to go with the regular covers for those. But this is the cover B for issue number 1, and it's beautiful. And there's more like it for the following issues. But
Yeah,
yeah, like I said, I think they're all incentives, and it's kind of a bummer because I really like it because it. Sorry, let me pull it back down. It has like the objective in here. It just has like all these little details on it that just makes it really fun.
yeah, and
Um,
it's just so like unique. Like, and it just doesn't look like a comic cover, and that's not a dig. It just looks like a pamphlet or like
yeah,
a document you would get,
yeah,
Like, yeah,
like that, like the ones that the Ministry of Compliance like pass around between each other. Like that would be like the official cover on it.
I'm bummed for
Um,
you.
yeah. But anyways, what goes on is like it starts off with like them taking care of business with the Ministry of Finance, and then they have to find a new minute, like somebody else to take over the Ministry of Finance. And there's like this big meeting between all the ministries where the president is supposed to like come and speak with them. And the day that they all show up for it, the president's not the one who shows up on the screen for them, it's somebody else. And they basically just say like, the president's been removed, like your missions are all like done, and basically they're all being set up to die on Earth, and
Mm,
none of them want to do that. And so it's becoming this thing where they're gonna have to like get off the rock. So yeah, I'm really excited that issue 2 came out, and I can dive right into that one. uh, but yeah, it's just been really fun. The art, I guess I can show you some of the art because I have issue 2 not bagged and boarded yet.
yeah,
But
open that
the
bad boy
art's
up.
just it's I haven't looked through this one yet, but it's pretty like clean. It's
It is
just
very
clean
clean.
art. These are some darker pages. Um,
We
let
all
me
have
see.
darker pages.
We do. Oh gosh. Well, I'll just show you the first page. How about that?
There's so many. God,
There we go.
that does look really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one. And again, thanks to Ross for this. I love when Ross recommends something. I
Mhm.
probably 4 out of 5 times that Ross recommends something, I'm picking it up. So
Yeah, that dude knows his comics.
he
He should
sure
put
does.
he should put that as his Instagram like bio. I know my comics,
He
but
should. That should just that's all it should say. It say, Ross, I know my comics.
well, there you go. So I guess I did kind of get some nerdy stuff for Christmas, right? Because I got that gift certificate, and then I specifically went out to buy stuff that I would not normally get. Was kind of my goal. I didn't want to just like use it to get my pools. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to treat myself, and I forgot it in the other room. But I got two trade paperbacks, Godzilla Rivals Volume 1 and 2. And over this break, I have like weirdly got, I can't remember, was I telling you that I was watching like the recent Godzilla movies? Was that before or after break?
I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, either way, I've been watching, I watched like all the Godzilla from 2016, I think it is, the one with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Um, the Kong, Skull Island, which I really loved. I loved both of those movies. Godzilla King of Monsters was has terrible dialogue and like a story, but it's really cool to watch. Like Mothra, Mothra's my favorite. Um, and every time that spoiler alert that she dies in that movie, I'm just like, but then Godzilla comes back, and they literally say this in the movie with a Mothra power up, and he just goes, and then like a Mothra JPEG shoots out of him, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of a weird thing. Like it felt very video gamey. Um,
Huh.
but anyways, I've just been loving Godzilla. So I treated my,
Godzilla is like everywhere right now.
I know. Well,
Like
I
like
think it's the new MCU. I think people are kind of off the MCU and they just want kaiju now. You know?
yeah, but like yeah, Godzilla's so many different like comics of Godzilla came out last year. I think it was the Power Rangers versus Godzilla last year.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Uh,
But that was I went back and read that, finished reading that over break too, and
Nice.
that was really good. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. But yeah, Godzilla's rivals were just all one shots, and so each volume has 4 issues. And you know me, I love one shots, and I love just being able to like just jump into a story and just and there it ends, and you can just walk away from it for forever.
Yeah.
Uh, I One of my favorite things about Godzilla is that he can be a good guy or a bad guy depending on perspective and writers. Um,
Yeah.
and so, like in the first issue of the first volume, he's a good guy. In the second issue, he's a bad guy. And then they just out of nowhere, he in the third issue, he goes to Mars to fight Ghidorah and or King Ghidorah, and they leave him there. That's how it ends. Is just Godzilla's on Mars, and I just love thinking that like in that universe, there's just like they're like, oh thank God, we got rid of Godzilla. He's on Mars. Whew. Uh, but yeah, it's just been so much fun to just be able to dive into this and just again, just I love the one shotness and just being able to yeah, just see all this you know again, it's the human drama of Godzilla that really kind of tells those stories. Similar to I also read Godzilla War for Humanity #3 that came out like right when we went on break, and that just continues to be a great story as well. It's charming, it's very heartwarming, um, yeah, and the art is super fantastic. So
Nice.
yeah,
Did so there's another so like the Japanese film industry has been putting out some Godzilla movies too.
right. They
And
put
there
out
was
that
like Godzilla -1, I think.
yeah, and I didn't get to see it in theaters unfortunately, but apparently I saw this online, but like on a meme page, not like on an official thing. But it sounds like they're going to do a re-release of uh, the Godzilla -1, but it'll be in black and white. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, so if that comes out, I'm gonna try to go see that because I've just heard good things. I've heard multiple people listed as the best movie of last year, which is
Yeah, no, that's why I brought it up is because I saw so many good reviews for it. I think on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes as really high scores among critics and users.
right.
So it's definitely on my list, but I'll probably wait until it's available to stream somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna probably, like I said, go out if it's available. But I'm going to see the Iron Claw tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Ooh.
Just gonna see a bunch of ripped dudes running around, and I guess something dark and sad happens. I don't know. Don't know anything about that, so I'm trying to go in as ignorant as possible.
Oh, is
Um,
Iron Claw the one about the wrestling family?
yeah,
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 I really want to see that.
yeah. Don't no spoilers. Don't tell me anything. In fact, why don't you tell me what's happened to Captain America?
So Captain America, there's another thing that Ross put on my spotlight, but it was Ross and Kyle because they talked about it on one of the Marvel Unagis.
Mm,
And so when I left on my trip, I I was like, I'm not going to bring any comics with me because I'll probably be bringing some back because I had intended to go to Coffee and a Comic,
mm,
um, and then also just kind of shop around and see if there's comics anywhere else.
right.
What's really funny is I did find comics at a couple other places, and they all had come from Frank's shop.
That's funny. Oh, that's great.
um, but yeah, so they were talking about it on Unagi, and I was like, oh, that sounds really good. And so it popped up on my Marvel Unlimited app when I first opened it up to start downloading some digital stuff. And so I read it right there on the spot, and it was absolutely fantastic. And it's written by the same guy who writes The Madness. What's his name again?
Oh, you can do this.
Straczynski, some John Straczynski, I
Okay, yeah,
think.
I think it's John. Yeah, you're right. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's a J in there. I know there's a J. It might be something J Straczynski or John something Straczynski. But
sure.
yeah, it's really cool because it's Captain America. It kind of goes back into his like origin story as a kid, like before he was Captain America,
Hmm.
and how he was like his parents had both died by the time he was 14, and it's like what the 1930s,
Yeah.
and he's having to make it on his own, and so it really shows like his character as an adolescence and how he like grew up to be the Captain America that we know, just like this guy who stands for justice and can't stand wrongdoing.
Hmm.
wants to do everything on his own. Like he doesn't want, he wants to make it on his own without the help, like having to burden people with helping him. And so it was just really cool to read. So it's one of the things I picked up at Frank's shop is he had a couple of the issue number ones, and I got this variant cover for it.
I gotta say, I love how good the Captain America suit looks there. I'm always a fan of the suit, but for some reason I'm drawn to the boots. Loving how the
Yeah.
boots look.
No, the boots look really rad on that cover. But yeah, I'm glad too, just because like it's been really difficult lately for me to like read kind of like the main Marvel stuff. Kind of the same way that I've been with DC for the last few years. It's been really hard to get into like Superman and Batman and Green Lantern, and it's been getting more difficult. And it's probably just because of the movie industry that it's going this way for me. But like it's just been really difficult to like stay in touch with those characters, and so it was nice to find something that was just refreshing on a character and just get to know him more.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've been not thinking a lot, but thinking about Marvel, and a lot of times when we talk on the podcast, we talk about, I don't ever want it to sound like I'm not believing that there's good stories over there. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I want to believe, and I do believe that like Marvel and DC are both telling good stories. But for me and how I like to, I just like being introduced to new things, and there are times
yeah,
that it's nice to be like, what is Captain America up to? What is Ant-Man up to? You know?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and then I also just like another reason I struggle with Marvel and DC is just because like I honestly think they're terrible for the comic book industry right now. Um, Essentially, it's like if Marvel and DC went in together and bought like an apartment complex, and just instead of taking the equity to revamp the apartment complex over the years, they're taking it and buying other things instead of investing back into this original apartment complex. And like that's what's hurting like comic book shops, is like Marvel and DC aren't doing enough to support the idea of a local comic book shop, and they should be, because that's what gave them life. Well, really, the newsstand gave them life, and then comic shops were birthed from there. But
Right.
they just need to do more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. And like I've said before, I think just the fact that they haven't done anything to really help like the fact that they didn't have comics out to help with the MCU, and
Yeah.
I don't want to really spend a lot more time talking about that because well, here's our Marvel and DC rant for this season. We're getting it
For this
in
year,
early.
we're not going to do it again this year.
Right. Yeah. So just know how we feel about it now. But yeah, I just realized I had my audio wasn't on the right thing. Do I sound better now?
You do. I
Okay.
tried to message you when we first
Yeah,
started.
I just saw it. So I'm sorry about that. 43 minutes into the episode. So I hope I'm going to have to go back and listen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I probably won't be able to edit it very much to make it sound better. So just sorry for the lack of quality there. I don't know how bad it was sounding.
I got used to it.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone who's listening also got used to it.
I can understand you. So
okay. Well, yeah, sorry about that. We're not normally this rough. We're rougher.
But yeah, just to keep it there though. I'm really liking Captain America. I also I picked up issue 3 as well. I haven't read it yet. Frank didn't have issue 2 at his shop, but issue 3 I had this rad variant cover with Moon Knight.
That is a rad variant cover. I was gonna ask if it was Moon Knight adjacent, because it kind of looks like it is.
Yeah. So but I probably won't keep picking it up physically. I'll probably wait for it because the first issue just released on Marvel Unlimited, so the next ones are going to be coming out pretty soon there as well. So I'll probably just keep it up on there.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, the next one that I got into that I want to talk about, this came out well before we went on break, I'm pretty sure. But I never got around to it, which is such a shame because I loved this comic. Well, let me just say what it is. It is Howie the Hellhound. From Scout Comics. Do you remember this at all? I mean, I sure would have.
I remember you like when you pulled it,
Right.
but
It
never heard anything since.
So essentially, it's just a dog that escapes hell, a hellhound that gets onto Earth, and he meets this kind of like manic pixie girl who just falls in love with him and then just adopts him. And she obviously doesn't know what he is, and like he does a bunch of silly stuff. And again, this is another one that was like very cartoon esque and like yeah, just very innocent. And even though like it's about like a hellhound or whatever, it just felt like very pure and lighthearted. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like what I was gonna say is I've never had a comic like this where I've finished reading it and just wanted to reread it again. Most of the times when I like even when I like a comic, I'm like, that was good. I'm gonna put that down, I'm gonna soak on it. But I just had a fun time, such a fun time going through it that I can't remember if I did go back and reread it, but yeah, I wanted to. And I asked my shop today if I missed number 2 when it came out, and he said no. So we're still waiting on it. But you know how Scout is. I mean, any type of indie comic will get a staggered release. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't have much more to say about it other than like it was just such a fun thing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to number 2.
Nice. Yeah. So just to backtrack a little bit, I did read a good number of books over the break. And
Sure.
so when I was like preparing for this episode, because I had already put most of them away
Yeah.
without thinking like, oh, I need to be prepared for this first episode. And also not remembering that I was going to be gone for the week before
Right.
this episode. So I didn't get a whole lot in. So I was like really trying to get together what I was going to talk about. And there was just too many.
Yeah.
But one that I do want to talk about is not City of Madness, Gargoyle of Gotham issue 2.
I don't know if City of Madness is a different Batman thing, but I'd like to think that you got Gotham or Gargoyle of Gotham confused for City of Madness, because it would be a City of Madness if it Gargoyles took over.
One thing that makes it hard for me to keep them straight is they're both going at the same time, and they're both DC Black Label.
Okay,
and
yeah, that can screw you up.
But yeah, the Gargoyle of Gotham has just introduced this new interesting character called Crytoon. And the guys over on Comic Book Lair, they talked about it as well. But I haven't had like a new Batman character that I've liked as much like in recent years as much as I've liked Crytoon, because I think it's not the best to say he's like a darker version of Joker. But let me think.
Seems kind of hard.
He clearly has a lot more issues.
Okay. Whereas like the Joker is a little bit more like methodic and like silent and whatever, not silent, but like he's contemplative or whatever. He knows what he's doing and like is kind of just mad for the sake of insanity's purpose, you know?
Yeah, and like Crytoon's not as like outspoken as the Joker either. Like he's a little more, I would say he's probably a little more like menacing in more of like a
foreboding
secret, like like he's just like a very interesting character. And issue 1 was really good, but issue 2 was just like it blew me away. Just with like the development of that character, and like there's a couple panels where he's just like sitting in an interrogation room, and he's not doing a whole lot of like responding, but the whole time he's just like picking at his fingernails with it like on the same hand, and he's like pulling his fingernails back or something like that. And just the detail and the art on that, but also just like what that reveals about like him as a character. Like he seems like he's going to be more trouble as like this series goes on, which I think it might only be a 3-issue arc. So the next one might be the last one, but yeah. And the only reason I want to bring that up too is just like, if you are like us and you're struggling with DC and Marvel and you're just looking for something to like get into, Gargoyle of Gotham's a really good one, and it's written by a guy who like has pretty much always dreamed of writing a Batman comic. Like I think I read an interview that he kind of already had this idea for this story like back when he was a kid.
Right.
And it's been really fun. So if you do need something in DC or Marvel with just kind of some fresh content, Gargoyle of Gotham's where it's at.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I wish that there was more like heroes that I was super drawn to in DC and stuff like that, you know? Because
Yeah.
I mean, again, we'll just go back right down that same conversation if we keep going. But good. I'm glad that you're enjoying that. It sounds good. Our other pals are enjoying it. So pick up for our new pal Hack. That was for you. Go pick up Gargoyles of Gotham.
Because it will be an older Batman book at some point too. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's true. All things will be older in time. But I kind of just want to talk about this real quick. It's not a comic, but it is about sorting comics, which is always important for us. I started this new thing with my little pull rack back here that I've been really enjoying. Did you see my post about it?
I did.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyways, because maybe not everybody did. So what I've been doing now is just putting in here all the comics that I'm currently reading. And I have them like stacked behind each other. So like you can see Petrol Heads right here. So I have like issue 1 and 2 right there. So it's just been like a lot easier for me like mentally to remember like, okay, here's what I'm reading. I haven't done it yet, but I put them kind of in like order of how like, you know, which one I'm most excited for. But I'm like, there's so many that I'm excited for that it's hard to kind of put in that order with just being like, feeling like you're rearranging your MySpace top 8, you know?
For those of you who remember MySpace.
Yeah. And according to our demographics, I would say all of our listeners remember MySpace. But yeah, so that's just been a lot of fun. And then like I can see, you know, what haven't I been enjoying? Yeah, I'm just very happy with how that's working out to just be able to, you know, I'll bag and board some stuff and throw it right there. Been enjoying that.
Yeah, I gotta say, like your room looks great.
Well, thank you. I also hung up some posters I got over here. Topley being our outer space thing that we got from them, our poster. I guess that's the word. I got 2 that Texas Bloods, like they're supposed to look like action figures, like little toys. This right here is a Batman drawing by Jacob Phillips, and then that's that Texas Blood like postcard kind of thing.
Nice.
So yeah, pretty stoked on all of that. But
your room's way cooler than mine.
That's not who knows? That's not true. We'll put it to a vote sometime. But just before we get going any further, are you all caught up on one of our favorite comics?
I am all caught up on that.
Yeah. I just want to say this real quick. How good, like Lewis, I hope you're listening. It's good. It's so good. Like I just enjoyed it. I don't want to say more than the first arc, but that is kind of like the feeling that because it feels different, you know, like the tone of it is different. The subject matter is different. Yeah. And I'm just super impressed with him because I feel like he could have gone the same way of just like doing like one-off stories with them. But the fact that he's trying to like tell us like, you know, a story with her and build her world and show her what she's supposed to be. Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Chef's kiss. No, it's brilliant. And again, I just love Lewis's writing. I love how he can make it really serious, but still throw in these like laughable quips just throughout the dialogue. Just whether it be how somebody responds to another character, or you know, the easiest one to go back to is in issue 1 when Fireman shows up. Like that was just absolutely brilliant.
I was just gonna say that every time I see Fireman, I'm just thinking about you sitting out there just being like, ha 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 ha. You know,
that sounds exactly how I laugh.
Yeah, I've heard it enough times to get it incorrect, I guess. But yeah, I mean, shout out to them for that because it's just such a good comic. I mean, everybody involved, obviously, like it's a group effort, but such a good comic.
Yeah.
Any other ones you want to shout out? I only have like one more, I think.
So see. I read Animal Pound. Really like that. So that's like the modern telling, or like a modern retelling of Animal Farm.
Right.
I really enjoyed that. I had read the Ashcan first, and so reading issue 1 was just kind of finishing the comic. And that's done by Tom King, who, like a legendary Batman writer, like living legend.
Right.
And oh man, I can't remember everything off the top of my head that I've read. Like I like honestly until you showed it, I like forgot that I had read Midnight Western Theater Witch Trial.
Yeah, I mean, it's been over a month since we've been since we've gotten together, so there's been just a lot going on. The last one actually, before I say the last one, I just want to pull up good old Eric's comments. Say it, fellas, it's great to have you back. Detective Comics has been doing a pretty spectacular run by Rom V, and you are not dumb, you're brilliant, and you're beautiful, and we're happy to have you here. And Rom V, Rare Flavors, very good, continues to
Oh
be
my
very
gosh. Yeah, that's another thing I read over break was the latest issue of that. And again, just I love that. I love a comic that makes you like feel the comic. And with Rare Flavors, like you like I think it's actually probably better like to sense, like you
Yep.
really sense this
Yep.
story, especially with just all the talk of food in it, and just like how to cultivate like a proper recipe into its final product. It's just such like it's a dark story, but it's very pleasant to read.
Yeah, it's not unsettling even a little bit. There is like a little bit of like what's gonna happen, but like yeah, I feel very nestled, or just very comfortable in it,
Yeah, no, I could sit in that world for a while.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm enjoying it as much as Lila Star, but I think that's probably just because I love like mythology and those kind of things, and this is a little bit more about cooking and like
Yeah.
that
Ooh,
experience.
that reminds me. I will agree with you. I do like
I
so
thought you were
far
gonna
I
say
like
I have to
Lila.
cook dinner.
No, I do have to cook dinner, but not yet.
Yeah, I mean it's only 4.
Lila Star um, is probably in my top 10 all time.
Really?
Like
I mean, it might be. I think it might be for me too. That would be very hard to pin down.
I haven't like made out a list of like my top comics of all time, but I would venture to guess that it would probably be up there. But speaking of just like mythology and lore and all of that, another thing I read over break, maybe I got them before we went on break, but it was another Red Optical Core Ross recommendation called Fallen.
Oh, I don't know this one.
So Fallen's put out by Red 5 Comics. They're a pretty small indie publisher. I was able to order directly from their website to get these comics, but it's a 6-issue series, and essentially, so it opens up in a great year, 1986.
Good one. 3 years away from a better one.
I
Really?
don't know. I don't know about that. But basically, it's all of the gods of mythology and past lore, like the ancient gods, have all fallen out of I think they call it the ethereal, like plane or something, ethereal plane, something like that. And so this is like the Greek gods, the Norse gods, the ancient Mayan gods, and like the ancient Japanese gods. And they all live in New York and all kind of operate as a certain kind of like gangster, whether like the Aztec people kind of like I'm blanking on the word. What's the Mexican mafia called? Cartel. They're like
You got it.
Yeah, so they kind of are like a cartel. The Greek gods are kind of a more stereotypical mob. The Norse gods are like a biker gang.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like, and they all have like their, what they do in the city, like in the underground. Like nobody knows that they exist. But like things are starting to happen. Like none of them have like their abilities anymore. Like that's another thing. Like Thor still has his hammer and he's still the only one who can lift it, but like he himself doesn't have like his powers.
Right.
But he can use Mjolnir as Mjolnir is intended. And like gods are starting to die. Like somebody's going around and killing them, and so they're all essentially blaming each other. And then it turns out that it was another group of ancient gods that had been hiding in the city that none of them knew about. And it was just such a fantastic read. I read all 6 issues like in one day, like not in one sitting, but like throughout a day. I just kept picking them up, and it was super fun.
That sounds awesome.
I think I might actually have them up here. So.
Oh, do show. If not, that's fine. Oh no.
I know. Oh gosh, yeah. See, I forgot Ribbon Queen. It's sitting right here. So good.
I would imagine that probably for the next couple of weeks we're just going to be remembering things that we read over time.
Did I talk about this?
No, Macbeth?
Yeah, this is brilliant.
What is it?
It's a Macbeth tale of horror. So it is taking the story of Macbeth but making it a horror story, and the art in it is brilliant. It's beautiful. It's all red, black, and white, and a little bit of orange in there. And then at the end, when like the green things come in, you just get like hammered with like green.
That's pretty. That's pretty dope. I like how that looks.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. But yeah, I don't want to keep going because I'll keep finding.
We'll just keep remembering. The last one I just want to say real quick is Slow Burn. I missed issues 2 and 3 when it came out, and I don't know how, because it was one that I was really looking forward to. But I picked it up, and it's just so good. It's about this group of people who live in Pennsylvania. There's a couple that are addicts, and they have a father that's schizophrenic. And so they're trying to take care of him, and they commit a crime to get some money. And then they end up, how do you say this? Like boarding themselves up in an abandoned house in what is it's supposed to be like Centralia, a town here that had a mine fire a long time ago, and the city had to be deserted. So it's kind of set in that kind of town. And each issue has been from a different character's perspective and has been like essentially their issue. And so it's just been told really well. It's really cool to just have a comic that's based in my home state, not unlike Hollywood Special, but this seeming a little bit more like to modern and like reflective of like kind of the current state of the state. So like you, I got into like so many other comics, but yeah, this was one that really loved and really looking forward to see how it wraps up. I'm pretty sure it's only a 4 issue. So yeah, we got into some good stuff. Huh.
Well, while you were talking, I got really excited about the new slogan. And I don't know if Crush has like a strict slogan, but I found another one that might work better.
All right, let's lay it on me.
So it's a crush for every craving.
Ooh, a comic for every craving.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. See, I do like that, but I think as like a slogan for saying at the end of an episode, it might be better to say "embrace your inner comic" than. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair.
I can't even remember the other one now. What was it?
I think you said it.
No, yours.
Oh, so it'd be a comic for every craving,
or a craving. No, wait, it would be. What is the original quote?
A crush for every craving.
Could it be a crush for every comic? No, that doesn't work. Yeah, let's just do embrace your inner comic. I feel like that might be it. All right, you wanna bring us home, and I'll get ready to say that.
Yeah. So thank you everybody who joined us today. So Hack and Pesky and Eric, thank you guys for hanging out and chatting with us. We will be back next week. If you missed us live, don't worry. You probably already are listening to this, so it doesn't matter. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. To watch us, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or really wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us mostly on Instagram at the pullboxpals. You can find me at Matt_nerdy, and you can find Monk at that Monk Guy 89. We love chatting comics. We haven't been chatting a whole lot of comics for the last month, so I'm gearing up to be excited to have a lot of conversations this year.
Yes, sir. Same here. And man, it is good to be back. I'm so happy that we get to do this. Like it was nice to like have a little break, but it is also nice to like have this in the middle of the week just to do something fun and just catch up with a putty. I'm in my brain. I was like, don't say buddy, say putty. All right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out and embrace your inner comic. I'm so sorry my audio was bad. Please come back next week. Don't let it scare you away.